Hi, welcome back to another episode of Coldstream Rod Shop. I'm Derek Fraser. In this week's video, we're going to keep on working on a New York coupe. The last two episodes, we've really been kind of focusing on the top, the roof section. We worked our way from the passenger side around the back, fixed some bullet holes, knocked some dents out, shrunk those dents. There's still more of that to do. I've taken some of the wood out on the inside as well. So what I got left to do here, I got a nice dent here that revealed itself here on the top, plus there's a stress crack I think underneath here I got to fix. Yeah, it's right there. You can see it right there. I've got to fix that. And then the front parts of both of these drip edges I've got to fix on both sides. And then over here, on the underside here, I've got to, this little lip here is going to be restored. I did that on the Moncton coupe. I'll do the same thing on this one. The driver's side isn't as bad, but there's a couple holes there I've got to patch up. So we'll work along that, work on this edge. The wood here around the rear windows has got to come out, and then this tray, kind of just basically prepping all of the metal here to be able to put the new wood in across the top, and then the new wood across the top of the roof here as well. That's quite a bit of stuff to do. Going to work on as much as I can of that and try and really push the roof section along on this 32 Ford 5-window New York coupe. Well, we made a little bit of progress on this one front corner here. I was able to knock part of the dent out. I had to do a little bit of welding here because there was actually a crack and a dent, and it was stretched. So the welding kind of helped with the shrinking of the stretch part. More or less got this really close to what it can be. Unfortunately, like from the inside, it's kind of hard to access it from the inside. So what I was using, I had this pry bar that I rounded the edge out on, and basically came in from behind and just kind of just kept gently tapping it, trying to get the dent out. So the dent's out, there was a repair underneath it. And the other thing I did, like I don't know if I mentioned it this time or one of the other videos, is the drip edge here was going. I actually had to cut out this section of the drip edge. And then I had some donor pieces that were from a sedan. So I cut the drip edge off of the sedan here. Removed, it was actually, from here forward, it was pretty good. These were left from another customer who loaned them to this customer, which kind of really helped us out quite a bit. So that's now welded in here. The only thing left I have to do now, I've got to come from behind and kind of do like a little spot weld to hold that in place. But right now I'm kind of happy with that. This side is more or less good. I took the flapper wheel and I cleaned across the top of the front here, and then as you can see here, just ever so slightly touched it, and it just blew holes out in some of the sheet metal. So I kind of knew I'd have to do some work here, whether that's on this episode or a future one. But around the windshield frame, there's quite a bit of work to do on that. Next up, I'm going to kind of do the same thing. Watch out, camera lady, you got to fall over there. I'm going to do the same thing I did here over on this corner. I did some work on this side 2 episodes ago. I did knock out this big dent here. I have another piece over there with the drip edge onto it, and I'll see how it goes. I may actually cut it back to this point and replace this drip edge here. I'm kind of happy with this side. There's still a couple pinholes that I'll touch up as I go, but gonna work on this side and then start working on the inside. So I cut away the drip rail with the intention of working on the upper edge, which I'm still ultimately going to work on. So when I cut this away, then I took the door off to get better access. And what I forgot about was this side here is pretty shot. The sheet metal's not bad, but where it attached to the A-pillar, it's just crusty like nobody's business. I mean, the A-pillar is relatively sound, but the sheet metal doesn't attach to it. So I think I'm going to switch gears here. I'm going to keep on working on the top, and then I'm going to work my way down. And I may even build the quarter panel for this side. One of the things I talked about with the owner was that he does want me to do more metal prep on this before he gets it back. So ultimately he wants it epoxy primed and the inside painted as well. So I kind of want to do that before I put the wood in. So I think we're going to switch gears here and work more on doing as much metal finishing as we can. I do have all the wood made. I have trial fitted some of it before, so I think we're just going to keep on going with the metal. Like I say, across the top of here, down the side, and try and get this quarter done. Even on the front, we're going to keep going with it. I've got another cowl that's going to have to go into, so I guess there's some intense and pretty heavy metal work we've got to do here. A lot of patching, a lot of holes, a lot of rust, but that's what we signed up for. Here we are. This is what I've done so far. The whole A-pillar, I cleaned it all down with the wire wheel, ground it down with the flapper disc to try and get all the scale and everything off of it. Ultimately, it's probably going to be sandblasted a little bit, but right now it looks a whole lot better than what it did when we just showed you at the beginning. It was pretty crusty. One of the things that I wanted to do was actually take the hinges off. I got them all off. I tried my paraffin wax and propane torch trick, and it didn't work this time. I also tried the old weld and nut on, kind of like when you take an exhaust manifold set off. That didn't work either. So last resort is basically drill and tap them all out. So they were in there really good. So top one, no problem, drilled and tapped them all out, we're good. Bottom one, I drilled and tapped them all out, and two of the holes wandered, so I had to fill the holes back up, weld them, then re-drill and tap them. So that one is ready to go in there. I have some machine screws for now. I do have the original style, flat screwdriver style with the washers over there. I will eventually put those in, but for now I'm just going to use these. The other thing I did, I carried on starting to attach this panel. So it's just basically a piece of sheet metal bent at a right angle. I think it's 3/8 by 1/2 inch. What I was doing was it's just kind of welded to the parent metal here, the sheet metal. And then I drilled a hole in here, I think 3/16 or a little larger, and then welded into the A-pillar, kind of like making it look like it's a spot weld. What I'll also do is I'll keep working my way up to the top, and I'll basically replace this piece because it was gone, as you saw in the pictures. The other thing I needed to do actually was get a pattern for the bottom here, these bottom quarter panels. Although I had the Window Coupe here all that time, I never made a pattern. So I went over earlier today and I made a paper pattern. So it will go basically like that. And I've got another piece here that's the shape of the body line on the bottom. So the intention will be to try and make that all in one piece. There's a folded edge over here mimicking this, and there's also a bead that goes along here and folds down. So it's a little bit of a complex quarter panel, but I should be able to make it all in one piece. So I'll carry on working on that. At the end of this video, I'll show you a short clip of the Window Coupe and where it is right now. The gentleman that had us work on the body, he's done some work on it. So tune in at the end of this video and we'll throw a little clip into that. So as you can see from the time lapse, I made a front quarter panel. Quite a few steps involved in doing it. One of the challenges actually that I wasn't sure how I was going to do is that on the front where it goes into the firewall, there's actually a skinny little bead here. So what I ended up doing was, from the time lapse you saw me, I bead rolled this line all the way around here, and then the next step I went to the tipping dies. I turned this upside down, and I was able, through a couple trials and that, I actually just tipped this right up, right from the edge, and then basically dollied it the rest of the way, because the tipping dies that I have here are actually, I think they're actually hemming dies, so, but they've got a nice sharp edge here so that I can tip things. They work just like a tipping die, so this is what I use. So it went in there and I tipped up as far as it could. So that was the second step. Then I believe the third thing that I did, once I tipped that over, then I went to the bottom here, and the bottom is the section where it goes, it's got to be bent over here. I did actually, sorry, I'll back up a little bit. When I did this edge, I got my nice bead, and then because there's a shape to it, I went to the shrinking dies and actually just shrinked it so that I get that little bit of a, I don't know if we can see it or not there, but I think I've explained before in other videos. So I actually got the shape. Then I tipped this bottom edge over again, and then used my dolly over there with a little mandrel to get the nice rounded edge like you have on the bottom of the reveal. And again, same thing, the bottom of it is also shaped a little bit too, so back on the shrinker to get that shape. And then the third area, which was a little more challenging, was I had to tip it twice. So tip it the first time so it comes perpendicular, and then flip it over, and I had to tip it over a second time. On the first tip, when it was perpendicular to this, I did the shrinking so I could get the curve to it. Once I got the right curve to it, then I did the second tip to get, I guess, the zigzag shape as you can see there. So this, the last thing on this panel actually had a little bit of a crown to it. So when it goes onto the car over here, and I still have to do some final fitting on this, but basically it's to the right shape. So it's almost as if you've got to put it over, your knee and bend it here. So I went on the English wheel, just put a little bit of crown onto it until it started to take the shape I wanted to. So right now that's ready basically to go on there. There is a cutout here for the hinge I'm going to have to do. So I'm going to work on that and hopefully show you the finished product here all welded on. So here it is, the quarter panel's all welded in. As you can see from the time lapse, I finished welded it and ground the weld flush with the original metal. I did a little bit of hammer welding just to finish it off, but I really took my time on this. There was almost no distortion this time around. Luck, skill, not sure which, but I'm going to take it as it is. The hole is now cut out for the so that the hinge will fit in there. At least it was earlier. Yep, there we go. So it fits in there the way it normally would. Just, oh, there's a burr on that. So anyway, all good. Hinges go back in. This whole edge basically was redone, and then I just kept working my way up. So I'm basically up to the top here where I thought I was going to start working on it. Once I took the door off and saw how crusty and bad shape, like, you know, the A-pillar was, I kind of changed gears and decided to focus on basically working on the quarter and cleaning this whole A-pillar up before I work and go up the top. So next video, I guess, we'll keep working along the top on both sides, kind of doing the same thing to clean this all up. Hopefully you enjoyed that video. I squirreled around a little bit on different places, but still working the project to the end. Please like, share, tag, and subscribe. And of course, please come back next week and see what we're doing. Everybody have a great week and take care.